Hey, hey y'all. Where my girls at? From the front to back. Okay, that's all I'm gonna sing so we don't get copyright infringement. But welcome to Wives Wind Down. Y'all already know this is Wednesday. You know what time it is. Grab your drinks, grab your girls. I see y'all in the chat. Look at y'all on time. Yes, I see you, Renita. Hey sis. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you more than you know. Hey, Shar, I see you. Okay. And Ebony. It's my New York people from up north. Okay. Representing from the NYC. Yes. Brooklyn. Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn? Y'all know I'm crazy. Okay. Y'all know I love Brooklyn. Okay. Somebody said they like my singing. Thanks, girls. Just a little snippet. How y'all doing tonight? Let me know how y'all doing. How's your week going? If you are new to Wives Wind Down, welcome. We are so glad that you're here. If you are a repeat visitor and someone who tunes in every week and you never miss it, oh, I see you, Ardre. Yes, our guest has arrived. Woohoo! I can't wait for you to request, and I'm going to bring you on in just a few moments. I'm so excited. Yay! Hi, Victoria. I am Victoria. Thank you for joining. And Leah, I see you. Yes, thank you for joining, ladies. Again, if you are new to Wives Wind Down, welcome. We're going to bring our special guest on in just a few moments. I'm so excited. I know we are in for a treat. And if you are repeat and you've been here before, you already know the deal. Make sure you grab your glass because we're going to toast it up. You can drink throughout, of course, but we're also going to toast it up at the end. Make sure you're chatting with us. Send us your questions because we're going to talk about everything, life and love. Here, it's positive vibes only. We keep it real about life and love. So whether you've been married for, oh, thank you. Somebody said my lipstick is popping. Thanks. Listen. Ardre, she brings it. So I was like, I got to at least have a lip popping because most times she brings it. So we'll see what she's look like when she comes on here. Okay. Hey, Flojo. Thanks for joining. But yes, so whether you've been married for a year, 10 years, 20 years, whether you aspire to be married and you're looking to get married later on, this is the place for you. It's a no judgment zone. We understand that everyone has a different journey and we're just here to have like real life and love talk and like some good old girl talk and just get to know each other as well as just hear from different women and their experiences as it relates to, you know, transitioning from being single and being married and what it's like to really be a wife. Because a lot of times, you know, when I first got married, I was confused about a lot of stuff and I was like, am I the only one going through this? And so I realized that like we need an outlet like where we can just talk and be real. And when I tell y'all we keep it 100 over here, we keep it 100. Put a 100 in the comments if you can attest to the fact that we keep it 100. Hey, Radiance and Anastasia. Such a beautiful name. Hey, ladies and Reese. Uh-oh, cool Soror. I see you. Hey. She'll know what that wink is for. Yes. So without further ado, again, thanks for you all. Thank you. Somebody said, I agree. Lips is popping. Thank you. Listen, I had to bring it because my girl, Ardre, listen. She is something. I'm about to bring her on now. I'm so excited that you all are joining. Make sure you have your glasses, especially for later, and hit us up in the comments. And if you have questions, make sure drop your questions. See, look, you see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? You are ridiculous. I already knew.
Hi, Queen. How are you?
Hi. Oh, I just want to air hug you because I miss you so much.
You look beautiful.
You look flawless, okay? I already know the comments is about to get lit. Hey, welcome, Tracy. Listen, from the head wrap to the glowing skin to the lip, the background, the earrings. Listen, we here for all of it.
I love you.
All of it. Yes. Well, welcome to Wives Wind Down. I'm so happy and so thankful that you're here. For those of you all who may not be familiar with Ardre, let me give you a little background because let me tell y'all, she is a boss, okay? Don't sleep on it. If you don't know, Google her. But in the meantime, I'm going to give you a little short introduction. Ardre Orie is a celebrity ghostwriter, book publishing expert, playwright, film director, and CEO of 13th and Joan Publishing House. Orie has written for a host of clients, representing VH1, MTV, WeTV, Bravo, BET, Centric, YouTube, the NFL, the NBA, Grammy Award-winning artists, the entertainment industries, as well as a bevy of entrepreneurs and everyday heroes. even when she's making moves and making deals, she's also spending quality time with her loving husband and their beautiful children. So everyone, give Ardre a warm Wives Wind Down welcome.
Thank you, Queen, for having me. Thank you.
Yes. How you feeling today?
I feel good. I feel great. I've been up since really early. And, you know, when you just, you're motivated off of passion and purpose, you just kind of don't wear out. You just, you know, live in a place of excitement. So I feel blessed to be alive. I don't take it for granted. You know, just to be able to breathe. That's kind of the thing we've been talking about. So I'm just thankful. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you for asking. Like you said, I'm like, if we just make it through 2020 and we still alive at the end of it, that's more than enough.
It's more than enough. I thank God for being alive. I do not take one day for granted. And, you know, I've seriously, the being able to breathe, you know, with everything that has transpired, being able to breathe is a blessing.
Yes. Somebody said, absolutely. Passion and purpose. Let's go. Listen, these are the kinds of vibes that this is what we do. Okay. This is what we do here. So let's get right into it. So I was creeping on your Instagram, of course, and I saw what looks like a beautiful photo shoot with you and the family. So it looks to me like everything's great. You all are doing well, but I still want to ask, how are you and your husband during I can't talk. How are you guys doing right now during the quarantine?
You know, we're doing amazing, honestly. We run at such a fast pace. People look at me and they think that, oh, you know, she's doing whatever, but my husband is the real boss in our house. And, you know, we've just been blessed to be able to slow down, honestly. I do not, you know, I'm not excited about the hurt and the pain that's going on in the country. But when it comes to just having quality time with my family, that's what we have made this about. So we, you know, legit, we're playing cards together. We are, you know, walking the trail, riding bikes, you know, just doing a lot of the simple things and appreciating life. So honestly, I know a lot of people are like, you know, oh my gosh, during quarantine, and I wish you would go somewhere. I'm so thankful. You know, I just am in a place of gratitude about everything. I'm tired of cooking now. I will say that. These people here like to eat a lot. I'm tired of cooking. I'm like, somebody come cook for me. Who wants to fly in and cook? So, I mean, but I'm not a stranger to that, because even before COVID was going on, I used to cook 3 meals a day for my family. So I still do that now, but it's just kind of like people want snacks. And I'm like, you know, I'm resorting to things I haven't resorted to before, like cereal. That wasn't a thing, but I'm like, y'all get your cereal. It's you know, it's
yes. I'm sure a lot of the ladies are wondering, like, tell us a little bit more about the 3 meals per day. Like, that was just something that you wanted to do. You were committed.
Please, no. So, you know, you do things trying to bring that man in, you know, trying to reel him in. And my advice to people is, do not do things that you don't want to keep up. You know, if you don't want to keep it up, don't start by doing it. But cooking was one of those things. You know, I came from a family of cooking women, and so I just went full force with that. And now my husband, he acts like he doesn't even know where the refrigerator is when it's time to, you know. So the cooking is just an ongoing thing. And now my children expect it. They don't even like to eat out. You know, and they count the meals. They're like, oh, we only, you know, if people get up late in the daytime, if you get up late, if you get up at noon, well, that's lunch. So you miss breakfast. That's your business.
Right.
But, you know, people are like, oh, well, we only had 2 meals today. So it's, you know, but I wouldn't trade it. So, yes, I'm cooking. I'm frying. I told people it's like we live in the South. We're from the South, from Florida. I'm frying fish. I'm frying shrimp. I'm flipping pancakes. I'm cooking grits. It's going down. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, and you said a word when you said don't do things you don't want to keep up. That is so true, because it's hard to wean people off of that. So it's like, if you've been doing, you know, certain things in the kitchen, certain things in the bedroom, certain things just period in the house, you got to watch out, because you're going to have to keep up with that or he's going to expect it.
Right. So girlfriend roles, or, you know, you wrote the whole book on it, girl. You need to be talking.
Don't start. And I'm rocking your shirt. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
True story.
I love it.
Yes.
Thank
You
you
already know. It's nothing but love. So tell us a little bit about how you, just briefly, like about how you and your husband met and like your journey to marriage and going from single to married. Share a little bit about that.
Sure. You know, our story is so real. We met at I was age 14 at the time. So he's my high school sweetheart, and we in high school. He was my first real love. He taught me how to drive. He taught me so much, and he was really mature at the time. You know, for he wasn't like the other guys in high school. And we just hit it off, and we were really great friends. And that was the basis of our relationship, great friends. But now, you know, the story just can't be simple, you know, and I'm so excited today that it's not just a simple story. So we had breakups in between, and it happened that he was a year older than me. So he went off to college before I did. Now, the key thing in all of this is that I did not grow up in a home with a father. So that is part of what I was seeking in him, and I didn't even know it. But so he went off to college for 1 year ahead of me. And then by the time it was time for me to go to college, and we, you know, had reconvened, got back together. And then when I got there, we were in college in the same city. And, you know, it was like he wanted to kind of tell me, well, like, you know, you don't want to go to that party because of this, or you don't want to go over there. And I'm like, now look, I just got grown. You know what I mean? Just got grown, got out of my mama's house. I don't want you to tell me what to do. And, you know, we were spending a lot of time together. He had his own apartment, and it was beautiful, but it was just too much for me at that time. So we broke it off, and I had the time of my life in college. It was awful in a good way. Okay. I had so it was just a, you know, a good time, and I encourage people to do that, to live, because by the time I got married, I didn't feel like I had missed anything. Now, on the other side, he had a baby during that time. So that was very complicated, because I was one of those girls who, like, I have my list, and, you know, somebody with baby on the list that's not going to work for me.
Right.
So that's not a check I want to do. So when there were two things that happened. One is that I was dating someone else, and, you know, it was one of those just terrible relationships. Ike and Tina, but without the fighting, you know, it's just awful. And so, but you think like, oh, this is it, you know, when it's terribly, terribly ridiculous, you think this is it. So I recognized what love was not. And then, you know, after that, I was at a party one night, and he happened to come back in town. He was working. Now, corporate person, out of college. I'm still in college while having fun. He comes back. I'm standing out on a sidewalk outside of the party, and across the street was a smoothie place. Now, we have always, both of us, loved smoothies. So it just so happens that he walks up, and he's like, Ardre? So I'm like, is that you? And so we saw each other, we reconnected. Hey, what are you doing? I know you're about to go across the street and get a smoothie. So we did. We both went across. So we exchanged numbers. And the crazy boyfriend that I had at this time was like on again, off again, on again, off again. So my husband and I just became genuine friends once again, because we had all been friends. This was the kicker. So I was at home with some of my friends another night, and I was talking to him on the phone just randomly. And then I told him, you know, I would call him back shortly. And I mentioned to one of my friends that I was hungry. I was like, are you guys hungry? I feel like I'm hungry. Anybody want to get something to eat? So about 30 minutes later, there was a knock at my door. He had sent me a pizza. And I thought, wow, this person is the one who has always listened to me. I wasn't talking to him. I wasn't saying anything to him about being hungry. And so then he called back and he said, did it arrive? And I was like, did what arrive? And that's when he said, I sent you a pizza because I heard that you say you were hungry. Now, again, just friends, nothing more, nothing expected of me. And I knew then that that was definitely the person, and we would need to figure out how to work through, you know, now creating a blended family. So here we are, 17 years in September.
Wow. Listen. Look at God. You know, we love September.
Yes.
Yes. That is such a blessing, though, especially I can totally relate when you were talking about how you expected him to be your father, because, you know, I had to go through the similar journey of like not expecting my man to be what he can never be. Like that was not what he signed up for. He can't fulfill that role. And that's not the role that God gave for him. Now he's my husband, and there are things that he does that's probably way better than I could have ever imagined having a father. But at the
Yeah.
same time, he's not that. So I love that you mentioned that. And just the fact that also, I love how you mentioned that he listened, your husband listened to you, and that was a sign. And obviously you were willing to kind of relax your list a little bit because you realized, listen, he's got some other qualities that I need and that I adore and appreciate. And this could be my man. So I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I just believe that sometimes we can miss, what God is intending to send to us because the packaging is different. So that was really the case at that time. I was really about to miss all of my blessings. My whole life would have been different, had I selected differently. So I'm just thankful for being foolish at first, so that I could get past that to be able to hear.
Mm. Woo, that's a word. Yes, sis, that's a word right there. Now, obviously, you're a boss. I'm gonna just say it. You're a boss. You're a boss queen because everything about you is royalty and queendom. And I think that sometimes in relationships, whether you're single and even when you're married, especially when you become a mom and everything, sometimes we lose ourselves and we forget about like our God-given gifts and dreams and talents because we're so busy taking care of everyone else. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to ask you, like, and I feel like there's even someone on this that's listening and that's tuning in that may even feel like, man, I want to start this, but life is getting in the way, or mom guilt is getting in the way, or just feeling, fear or doubt. And I wanted to ask you, like, how do you continue to thrive and continue to push yourself and focus on what God has called you to do, all while managing, life at home as a wife and a mother? How do you stay on that path and make sure that you don't lose that?
Well, I did lose that. I lost her and I fought really hard to find her. So I
That's
resigned
real.
the job probably, we had been married for maybe about 5 years or so. And I just knew there was something more that I was supposed to be doing. I didn't know what that more was. But we made a conscious effort together to like eat ramen noodles eat ramen noodles and be, I stopped, I changed everything about my life. I stopped shopping. I stopped doing a lot of the things that were just based in materialistic, kinds of stuff because I really wanted to find my purpose. And I felt like I would just be so much richer if I could find my purpose. So I was willing to invest dollar that I had, in my business. I was willing to not pay myself and work. So as long as we could feed our kids, we figured it out. That was a decision we made together. But in that, when you go from being accustomed to earning an income as far as your purpose or your worth, because that was one of the ways that I equated worth, I lost myself. And then I felt like I had to be extra good at cooking and cleaning, extra good at doing what is necessary around the house, because now how do I justify myself? How do I justify not necessarily working in the traditional sense? So I lost myself because I knew that yes, I can cook, I can clean, I can do all the wifely duties and all those things, but there's got to be something else, right? God, like, this is not it. What else is there? So that came with a hard fight because when you're trying to balance, and then I'm supporting my husband in his career ascension. So he has been, pushing and doing a lot in his career, and then the kids, all of those things. So I was definitely lost. There were lots of days where I looked in the mirror and I didn't know who was looking back at me. There were lots of times where I just wanted to give up, not give up in terms of not living anymore, but give up in terms of searching for purpose, because it's hard. And even though people say, your purpose is what's right under your nose, you still have to work to be able to thrive in that purpose. And then you've got to figure out how that purpose can manifest to be on fertile ground, whether that means, financially, purposely, fulfilling yourself, all those things. So anyways, once I figured out what it was that I should be doing, then I became unapologetic about doing it. And I figured out what are some of the non-negotiables. So for example, one of the things I started doing with the books is traveling, to be with authors and to assist them and so people be like, now how are you jet setting all over the world? And where's your family? And where are your children? And where's your husband? But what they didn't know is if I left, a lot of times I would plan a trip to leave on a Saturday morning at 5 a.m. and I would be back at home at midnight, which means I was gone for one day. What people didn't see is that I was preparing breakfast before I left so that my family had meals. I prepared lunch, I prepared dinner, and they would literally have to just take things out of the refrigerator and heat it up. So I did a lot of things that
Wow.
showed that I was still present, even if I was gone. A lot of the travels, you know, if I did stay overnight, I was back the next morning when my kids woke up. There were times that I would fly out early in the morning, take a meeting out of town, and be back to pick my children up. Those are the things that people don't see. And you position things on social media however you want to. Hey, I'm in LA. Hey, I'm here. But you don't know that I just made, you know, 5 meals for my family. So there are things that I will always make sure that they are taken care of. The same thing with my husband. Before I leave, I'm making sure he's taken care of. Okay. Because I know that that's what they are relying on me for. So I don't drop the ball with those non-negotiables. Now, I'm not saying that I'm perfect and that there aren't times that I
Yeah.
have fought, but that is my intent and that is my effort. Even when I, you know, if I go out to an event and I may come home. I remember times and I had a sorority sister. She didn't believe me that I would cook in the middle of the night if somebody asked me. So we came home and she was with me one night, and my youngest daughter, who was probably like 5 or 6 at the time, it was like 1 in the morning, and she was up and she was like, "Mommy, I want some pancakes." And she was like, "Are you really about to make them?" I'm like, "Yep," because when I say that I need to leave to fulfill my purpose, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm going to go do what I need to do. But when I'm in your presence, whatever it is that you need, if I can do it, I will do my best to do it. So that's how I've been able to be okay with myself and to not feel so guilty. You know, we carry a lot of guilt as women. And I know men do as well, but I'm just speaking as a woman. We carry a lot of guilt when we do what we think we need to be doing, you know, when it's not for someone else. But I also know that my purpose is much bigger than me. So if I am positioned in a way that I can't do that purpose, then that also means that there are other areas of life that we can't prosper. This is the purpose that God has called me to do. There are times when I've tried to throw it away, put it down. No, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm tired, and it keeps coming back. So I'm not going to stand in the way of it, and I'm not going to let anyone else stand in the way of it. And now, over time, after teaching, after showing, after not apologizing for it, my family is fully on board with what it is that I'm doing, and they understand it. And when they don't understand it, they just say, "Run, we got you."
Yes. Somebody, they said yes for the non-negotiables. Yes. And somebody said, gosh, the guilt is real. And it is. It's like, I'm not a mother, but I was talking to one of my best friends the other day about it. And she was, you know, going through, you know, mom guilt. Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
well, if you need help, just say you need help. But it's kind of hard for her because she just feels like, well, I should just, you know, do it anyway. And I'm like, but you don't have to feel like that. But like, I think a lot of us have, whether it's mom guilt or wife guilt or even work guilt sometimes, where you feel like you just have to be working all the time. Like,
Right.
I love, that's why I really wanted you to speak to that, because I know I've seen you traveling, but I've also seen you where like sometimes your family will come with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes your husband and the kids, you all make it like a family trip, and then you
Yeah.
incorporate a little business here and there. And I'm like, I just love how it seems like you balance both of them, because you literally are a jet setter. So you're gone all the time. Sometimes you come into Atlanta, I wouldn't get to see you because you're like, I'm gone tonight. I'm like, well,
Yep.
go on, girl. Like, because
Yep.
you're doing it, you know. And I
Yeah.
just think that's admirable, because like you said, our purpose is bigger than us. And so if you're not fulfilling your purpose, that means someone else's life or someone else's healing is going to be delayed because
Right.
you're not doing and following what God has called you to do. So
Right.
thank you so much for sharing that. That's beautiful. I
Thank
love
you.
that. And I think I was even going to mention about like your husband being supportive, and like you kind of even touched on that, and how like he's like, you like, he's the boss in our house. It's like he's
Yeah.
helping you and you guys support each other, which I think is so important. And what would you say has worked best for you in terms of finding that balance and you all making time for each other? Because obviously you have the kids and he has his profession and your professions, but then there's also time for you all. So how do you all balance that and make sure you have time for each other?
Yeah, we have very specific things that we love together. Like I mentioned, smoothies. You know, we love smoothies. We love to have libations together. So, like, I love wine. I drink wine, and on certain nights, I'll be like, okay, you know, bring me a cab or you know whatever. So we have things that we love to do together, and those things are very much the same. We used to love to go to the movie. We would sometimes, and now you know that's totally different, but we would sometimes take everybody. So we would take the kids. We would look at what times movies are showing that are available for them because we do have an older daughter. And we would send them to one movie and then we would go to one movie. So we'd all be in the theater, you know, the big theater together, but we would still be on our own date night, you know, kind of separate from them. There are times when we would go to a restaurant and we would get them their own table. We sit at our own table. So you guys go over there and do what you do, eat, you know, we'll pay for it, but we are on a date. So we have those kinds of things. And the other thing is the love languages, like that is so real. So we have been in the same arguments, you know, for the 20 plus that we
Yes.
trying to teach love language. It's like, I don't like that, and you don't like this, and I want to do that. You know, so we still enjoy arguing about. We have the same arguments. I promise. Like we're not arguing about anything new, but the love languages are real. You too.
Yes.
You're talking about this, but you know, your husband, you and your husband are the same signs as my husband and I. You have a Taurus, so we, you know, I understand exactly
Yes.
about in your house because we're doing the same thing. And so but Taurus and Pisces, we do a lot too of listening to you know, we're not into like any crazy stuff, but we do pay very, very close attention to zodiac signs and we read, and you know that helps you to learn a lot about how people function and things like that. So yeah, we have the same arguments though, but we're able to just know what one person likes. He knows that, you know, mine is words of affirmation, believe it or not, but it makes sense because I love words.
You love
My husband
words.
for verbal when it comes to, he's all action. You know, if I'm here, I'm showing up, I'm being consistent. Why in the world do I need to say, you know, whatever? And so that's some of the things we talk about. He's very much, you know, time. And so if we're watching something together, which is our other thing, we have our specific shows. So like Power was a non-negotiable. You sign a contract, you do not watch it without me. Okay. You don't watch it until you watch it together. I'm doing what? So now we're
Yes.
shy. And so just those non-negotiable things, once again, it's just those staples. Now, if you need to be working all day, no problem. But if we say we're going to watch TV at 7 p.m., then let's both show up and be ready for that. So we really simple. We love to eat out at restaurants. And it's just, you know, spending time together, but not, it doesn't have to be extravagant. We just like each other's company.
I love that. Somebody said, I'm here for the intentional quality time. And Robin, I see you. She said, dang, Taurus. Robin is a Taurus, so she knows all too well. Her and she's a good friend of mine, but her and my husband are like one and the same. I'm like, clearly you guys are like brother and sister. But those Tauruses, I tell you, you love them. They are loyal, but stubborn.
Stubborn. You want somebody to love forever. You want somebody to tear up the whole world about you and to make sure that you are taken care of and nobody will bother you. You want a Taurus. You want somebody that's picky. You want a Taurus. But
that's the word. And those love languages is so important. Like it's so important to be aware of them and just to be, you know, like you said, you're still gonna have the same arguments, but as long as you know, like, this is why we do this. Because sometimes not knowing, like when my husband would buy me terrible gifts or when he wouldn't be excited about the wonderful gifts that I gave him, and I would just like I would be mad. It was because I didn't understand that's not his love language. But now that I understand it, now I don't expect him to, like, you know, even if I give him a wonderful gift, or maybe I'm going to help him. So I'm going to provide him with a list now so that he doesn't just make up a gift that he thinks I want. But I'm just going to go on and tell him so I can be happy.
Period. My daughters are always like, you tell him what to buy you. Absolutely. That's on period. I'll do it every time. I'll write a list. I'll send a text. I would rather not have a gift I don't like, and I can't like it. If I don't like it, I don't like it.
Thank you.
It's
You
not the
get
thought
me.
I'm gonna buy a gift. It might as well be something I like.
Exactly. So people are like, but it takes away the surprise. You know what? Surprise. I love it.
No,
Works for me.
works for me. I go children. I set my Christmas. Even my children are programmed. My teen daughter comes to me now and she says, "Your birthday is coming up. What are the things you want? I will talk to daddy." Good, because I don't, and I will return it too. I will say, "Do you have a gift receipt? I thank you so much."
Every time. I sure
Hey,
will.
I want to pick my own stuff.
We've
Give me a
been married.
gift.
It'll be what, 12 years in September. I have probably, with the exception of the last few Christmases, and my husband knows, we joke about it all the time, I've probably returned every gift for the last 10 years at least. But we still love each other.
Yeah, it's all love. I love you more that you allowed me to have the freedom to go pick out what I want.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, and if you're just joining in, make sure you drop in 1 if you're single and 2 if you're married, because we just want to know who we're talking to. And of course, if you have any questions, let us know, but drop them in the chat. 1 if you're single, 2 if you're married. Go on and represent your set and your status, even though your status does not make you, but we just like to know where you stand right now.
Yeah.
So speaking of arguments, what is, and this is one of our favorite questions we love to ask, but what's the pettiest argument, or not the pettiest, but one of the pettiest arguments you all have had?
Girl, it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing, but I'm gonna be truthful on here tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, we are both from Florida, born and raised, and we are both country and ratchet and ghetto all combined, right? That's what you get when you grow up in the country. And so there's an artist, I'm so ashamed. There's an artist by the name of 𝗂𝘁. You guys familiar with 𝗂𝘁? She made my neck, my. So 𝗂𝘁 had this song, My Neck and my Neck, My Back, whatever. When we were in college, that song was like major. And, I feel like I know I have the answer. She had a second song. I don't know what order it was in, but I know this song was after it. And it was called like 𝗂𝘁/𝑊𝘃 or something, right?
Oh, yes, 𝗂𝘁. Listen, all my Kentucky folk right now in the chat should be extra lit because we came, like 𝗂𝘁 was our song.
I am embarrassed for all of us right now, but
I'm not.
Okay.
𝗂𝘁 with it. 𝗂𝘁 with it. 𝗂𝘁 with it. 𝗂𝘁 with it.
𝗂𝘁 was gonna be as big as My Neck and My Back. Like, why would it not blow up? It was a song. It was a bop. We went in arguing because he was like, 𝗂𝘁 with it is not gonna be as huge as My Neck, My Back. My Neck, My Back is gonna be what it is, and 𝗂𝘁 with it is never gonna be. And I was like, it is though, it is. So we got into like an argument, and we laughed about it to this day because we went hard. Like, I mean, we weren't calling names, but I know we definitely did not speak to each other for like a whole day over 𝗂𝘁. So there you go. It's funny now, but baby,
listen,
just ratchet. Like, how you get into an argument about somebody else's #1 hit?
Listen, the music debates, you want to start an argument, you just go to music. That you can easily have an argument over like what's better, who's better. Lily said, oh, my husband's family is huge on 𝗂𝘁. They're from Tampa, St. Cloud. Lord, they get hyped. Yes, Lily, that's the song. Somebody said that is, yes, Tora, see, Kentucky folk, that is a classic. Still hit the dance floor when it comes out. Listen, we had a whole, we had a line dance that we did, and we had like a little stroll that we did. Not even just like sorority and fraternity stroll. We had like our own, like my friends, male and female, we had a stroll to 𝗂𝘁 with it.
And so now when it comes on, he chastises me. I told you it wasn't going to be as big, and go on out there and dance. You thought it was going to be so lit, So it's just, I rest my case. But that, honey, we had one of our biggest arguments ever about 𝗂𝘁. So shout out to 𝗂𝘁.
Yes. Ooh, this one right here, Tevi. Hey, Tevi. She said, my husband tries to tell me Alicia Keys is a better vocalist than Beyonce. Definitely an argument. Listen, I'm not even going to go there tonight. I love Alicia. I love
Love,
Beyonce, but I'm not even going to go there tonight.
because we will all be arguing about that.
And this is positive vibes only, but thank you, Tebby, for sharing. Somebody said they never heard that song before. Google it. It's a tight song. Can't wait with it.
Y'all, now this does not leave this chat tonight, okay?
Right. It'll be on the replay.
Right.
What's something that you've had to kind of unlearn about marriage, or like a myth that you would hear a lot about marriage that you realize, that's probably not necessarily true, as for me in my house?
Yes. Oh my gosh. First of all, I had to unlearn everything that I thought, because I grew up in a home with a single parent mother, number one. My grandmother was a victim of domestic violence. So I heard all of those stories growing up. And then my mother, I'm a childhood survivor. I am a childhood survivor of domestic violence. So I watched it in my home. And I really just felt like relationships were always going to end. So for the very first 5 years of my marriage, after the fifth year, I it was one night, it was like late, like 2 a.m. I woke my husband up and I asked him, if we could have a candid conversation. And I told him that I had to be honest, that it occurred to me because I didn't even know it, but I had never really been fully committed, because I always felt like at some point this is going to end. At some point this is going to self-destruct. And I had really been giving it my all. I was committed. I wasn't involved with anybody else or doing anything that was disrespectful to my marriage. But in my soul, I recognized after that 5-year point that I had not been fully present. So I woke him up in the middle of the night and I apologized, and I wanted him to know that to be true, so that if there were things that had occurred during the first 5 years where he ever felt my absence, I wanted to apologize for it and to let him know that he was not crazy. Because, a lot of times people are operating in certain spaces, but they'll make you think you're the person who's crazy or feeling real. So I wanted to just kind of acknowledge that and to tell him that I was fully committing myself to the marriage. But I just felt like it was self-destruct. Every relationship that I had been in, including with him previously, had ended. In fault because of some things that I had done, in fault because of the baggage that I carried from the relationships that did not work, in fault from the ways that I have seen men be dishonest, women be dishonest. And I just didn't believe in love. When I got married because I loved him so much, and I knew that he was the blessing that God sent to me. But I don't think that I believed that I had the capacity to sustain. So once, I got past that and God told me that I did have that ability, I could love one and I was worthy of love. And then, life in our marriage changed. So I had to unlearn everything. And the other thing that was major that I had to unlearn was when to be strong and when to, I had to learn how to be a follower. I had to learn how to make sure that my husband knows that I recognize him as the head and recognize him as the king. He is not the boss. Now, I'm just talking. He is, though. We run things. My husband looks to me to ask. Your husband, they ask you opinions. They ask you, what you think. And we all know that women are, everything comes from us. We birth everything. So that gives us a certain level of information existing that no other species has. So I acknowledge that and walk in the fullness of it. But I also had to learn how to be quiet. Everything does not solicit a response. LB on here knows she always says, tame your tongue, tame your tongue. So I had to learn how to just be quiet. I didn't have to be right with every argument. At this point now, it's like, it doesn't even matter. I don't even care who's right. You want the points, you take the points. I just want to be, I just want to be in love, So, but I had to unlearn everything. And I honestly never thought I would be married. I did not think it was for me. So to be sitting here, we know we're breaking generational curses with our marriage. It's not even about us. It is about just showing our kids what a marriage looks like. And we tell them all the time, now you're going to have your own dysfunction. You're going to both walk away, you know, three of you walk away, whatever. But I had to unlearn everything. So I
That
am okay.
is that is so real. Someone said, "Thank you for your transparency." Transparency. I don't know why I'm tongue-tied tonight. This is true for so many of us, and that's exactly what I was thinking as you were talking about that, because I too was the same way, and we have such similar backgrounds. It's so crazy how God divinely connected us,
Mm-hmm.
which that's a whole other story of how we got connected years ago. But I definitely was that girl, especially coming from a single parent home. It's like you don't really, it's like you aspire to be married and you think about it. You're like, oh yeah, that'd be nice. But then like, you don't really know. You're like, that's why I started this. Cause I'm like, you don't really know like how to be a wife, or you don't know what that really entails. And you don't know what that means when they say for better or for worse. And when you go through difficult situations that you can't just run away. And sometimes, like you said, you don't even believe friends with my husband, like I feel like, you know, at some point it's just you're gonna leave me. And my husband asked me, he's like, do you really think I'm gonna leave you, don't you? And I'm like, well yeah, ain't that what y'all do? Like I was conditioned to believe that because of, like you said, what I saw in my past, what I saw growing up, and just not having my father there. I just thought, oh okay, I give it a little bit, like okay, it's all good. I could never be comfortable with like, this is good and God has blessed this. I always was waiting for, you know, the ball to drop and feeling
Right.
like, you know, what's the saying? Like it can't be this true. It can't be feel this good. Like I had the same beliefs. And so in that similar way, I definitely had to unlearn that too. And I just thank you for sharing that, because it really hits home for so many of us. And like you said, that's why it's so important to have platforms like this,
Yes.
because we're breaking those generational curses. Like I knew I wanted to break it, but I didn't really know, like I sincerely wanted to break it. Like I'm passionate about that.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I really
Somebody
want.
said, do you all think Black women struggle with the leadership roles?
I do personally, because I feel that, you know, when I look around, and I have a lot of friends from many different ethnicities, and the way that they are taught about marriage and the examples that they have seen, and this is not to generalize for everyone, this is just, you know, specific situations, but you know, you have, like, even just for women to be in the home as stay-at-home mothers. You know, when I did that, when I resigned from my job, and we have a ton of friends who are married, we were the only couple, you know, and we have, like I said, a ton of friends who have very successful marriages. We believe in that, and who are thriving and doing very well. But I was at the time the only one, and it was kind of like weird. Like, okay, so what are you gonna do? Like, you're really gonna just do, you know, raise the kids? And in my mind, I knew that wasn't it at all, but still. So I think that we are leaders. And when you look at history, and you look at, you know, even going back to times when we were enslaved, when men were torn from us, and that is still the agenda, whether we want to believe it or not. The agenda is still to destroy the Black man, because he is the foundation of the family. So that is one of the reasons why I will not engage in the discussion of, you know, oh, Black men tear Black women down. No, I believe that that is a message that the media has created, you know, in addition to the messaging that happens in our music, you know, in a lot of the things that we are fed. We are told to believe that, and that messaging continues to be pumped and perpetuated. Meanwhile, I'm looking at my timeline of the Black man can, and looking at more Black men than I can count being amazing fathers, amazing husbands, amazing people, you know, in the world. I'm looking at all of the Black fathers who are gathering at the park with their children in strollers, but there's this narrative that men, you know, Black men don't have our backs. And this is very true, that there are some situations where Black men are disrespectful, just like any other men, you know, just like any other women. Everybody has the capacity to be disrespectful. But I do think that as Black women, we have been pushed and thrust into scenarios where we are called to lead, and we have to take the reins. We can even go to Vietnam, when a lot of our men were sent off to war, when a lot of them were, you know, used for experiments and all kind of craziness that was going on, that left Black women in a position to have to lead. And the one thing that Black women will do, if you tell us to lead, we are going to lead. We're going to lead you all the way to victory, to justice, to the promised land, to wherever we're leading you to. So yes, I do think that Black women have taken the reins of leadership, and it's hard to unlearn that, because what it looks like now is Black men and Black women in relationships in competition with one another. And
Mm-hmm.
really something that we have to deal with and combat. So
Yeah.
it's shaping the narrative. It's about changing a lot of the conversation. It's about not falling victim to the narratives that are fed to us, and getting to the heart of the matter, you know. But there are tons of amazing men out there who want to lead. But as women, we do have to understand how to follow. And that's something else that I had to unlearn, because I was always, you know, leading. So I had to learn how to follow as well. And I think that we can do it. We have the capacity to do it. And once a man shows us that he knows where he's going, well, then we can, you know. But if you don't know where you're going, why you want me to follow you? Because you don't have direction. So that's necessary.
Exactly. And it's exactly, especially because a lot of times, you know, the so-called independent woman gets a lot of flack, and we get because I was that woman, and we get a lot of flack for it. But it's like, I didn't choose to be independent. Like I didn't have a choice. Like my mom didn't have a choice. We had to do what we had to do. And so, like you said, if I'm in a position to lead, guess what? I'm going to lead with the best of my ability. But making that transition from being an independent woman and being single, and then having a man that I could, like, I don't have to do everything by myself. I can actually be vulnerable. I can actually let him lead us. And like you said, when he's ready to lead, and when he shows me that I can depend on him, and that he's there for me, and that he'll take care of me, and we'll take care of each other, and I don't have to be Miss Independent, that gives me even more trust and reliability on the man that I married. And I think someone asked that question, like, how did we, you know, transition from that? And I think that speaks to that. Like, you just have to, part of it was just like trusting in God that, okay, Lord, you blessed me with this man to lead our home and to be that. And then it was also just like changing behaviors, changing attitudes, changing mindsets, and realizing that, like, the Lord blessed me with this. This isn't like, I don't have to be that strong Black woman all the time. I don't have to be independent, because I have a husband who I can have a partnership with and I can do things with, versus me feeling like I have to do everything on my own.
Right. Totally.
Someone said, as a single mom for years coming into a marriage, I'm learning daily to let go of control. I desire for my husband to be the head as he's supportive of me. I'm learning to be better in this daily. Absolutely. And somebody said, what was the eye opener for you that was like, oh, wow, he not going to leave. He really loved me, if that makes sense. Yes, it makes sense.
Sure. You know what? It was not, I never knew that he wouldn't leave. Just like, I don't know now what happened. The eye opener was that um, I felt worthy of love. So it was never about what he would do. I felt so valued by myself. I valued myself. I came to value myself so much that I decided if he left, that would be his loss. I felt so good about who I was. It took me so much time to get there, but it was never about him. And you know, I always felt like, well, now, honey, if leave, you're leaving a good thing, baby. You know, that's gonna be on you. That's not gonna be on me. And I'm not thing that's gonna disrespect my marriage. You know, I'm not gonna do anything to be the cause of it not working. But if it doesn't work, it will be because it didn't work, not because I didn't feel worthy of love. Whereas before, I think I just never thought I was worthy of a love to be married. So nothing happened that he did. He didn't convince me. He continued to be consistent. He had always been consistent. I had to work on me.
Listen, that's a whole word. And I think that's one of the realities that oftentimes we don't realize about marriage going into it, especially as a woman and coming from backgrounds, whether you saw, you know, a married family or married parents or not, but especially when you come from that background, and like really dealing with the self-work and like,
Yeah.
overcoming that fear and overcoming that doubt that like this will fail, that
Yep.
takes some serious self-awareness and self-work. So, whew, you have said a word, queen. Like I have truly been blessed. Whew, I'm just so overwhelmed with just gratitude. And I think, usually I ask, for encouragement for married women and single women, but I feel like all of that is encouragement no matter where you are, like whether you're married or single, because if you're single, you have the opportunity to do that self-work and to really say, am I really ready for what I want, for this relationship that I want God to bless me with? And then when you're married, it's like, am I really in this for the long haul? Do I really truly believe that this is my husband and that I'm really committed to this and that I'm worthy, like you said, worthy of that love? Whew, that was so,
Yeah.
that's
And it has
real.
to be evaluated on an ongoing basis because you change. You're not the same person, 5 years from the point when you got married. I'm not the same person today. So I have to keep continuing to love that woman. I don't look the same way I did when I was in high school or college or whatever. So that self-love and the work to love myself is an ongoing thing. You start to learn about yourself. You see the things that are great and you see the things that you're like, oh my gosh, that is ugly. I need to work on that. I need to be better. I'm petty. I'm whatever it is, and so you pull those things out. So that self-work is an ongoing thing. But I just find when I love myself, I love my husband so much more. When I love myself, I love my children so much more. When I love myself, I love people in general so much more. The only joy, true joy that I have ever experienced was in the moments where I was in love with myself first. So that is what I try to do every day, is like me. I try to make decisions that I will not feel bad about. I try to be good to people. I try to give my all, and so when I look in the mirror, if I like myself, I love everybody else so much better and so much harder.
I love that. That's a good word. And I think that's such an encouragement for one of the sisters on here who said, I struggle with self-awareness and working on me since I got married. Mindset has always been to focus on my marriage, failing to realize that working on me makes me a better wife. And I think you summed that up perfectly. The more I love myself, the better I can love my husband and everyone around me. Like, perfect. I love that. Ooh, sis, you have been such a blessing tonight. So, woo, we have like 8 minutes left, but I want to do our fun rapid fire round. If you will oblige. And it's just a few quick questions, really like quick responses, to like get a taste of how things go down in your household. You
Okay.
up for it?
I'm up for it.
Yes. Okay. So, and ladies in the comments, don't forget, you all can answer these as well because it gets really, really interesting with some of the responses. So, first one, toilet paper, over or under?
Over.
Okay. Toothpaste, squeeze or fold?
Squeeze.
Cook at home or take out?
Home.
Yeah, I was like, the way you be cooking. Listen, send me some recipes.
Yeah.
Sex in the morning, during the day, or at night?
The morning, everybody. I'm like, listen, you start your day off right. So good to world, honey.
But why are
You
you so tired? Like, what if you're not a morning person?
am. I am. I'm a morning. So I'm like a, 4 a.m. So I'm like, okay, 4 a.m. I get up, I write. I got 2 hours of writing in. I've been in a whole nother world. 6 a.m. is a great time for us. And then we start the day. Yes, I bless everybody, honey. I have the best social media posts when it goes down in the morning. Y'all need to check it in the morning posts. Those are the good ones.
Yes. Look, now we're gonna be looking at your post like, I heard you got that good this morning. I love it. And see, everyone is different. You might be a night owl like me, or you might be the day. You just like that. Everyone's different, and whatever works for your household works for your household.
Oh, and lunch breaks. That's good.
I live for a lunch break, okay? Like,
Perfect.
there's something about a lunch break, it makes it, I'm gonna just leave it there. Yes.
Right. Hey.
Sex with the bonnet or scarf, on or off?
It could be, I don't have a problem with it being on. I don't know about nobody else, but
and my husband doesn't either, okay?
right. And I have cute ones. I've got like turbans, different colors. So mine is not actually a bonnet; it's a turban, and they're really cute. And yeah, they work.
Okay. Somebody said off. Oh, midday. Somebody said midday recharge is a great thing. It sure is, sis. Would you rather option A, argue all the time but have great makeup sex, or B, never fight and have mediocre sex?
I'd rather argue all the time, Ninja.
She said, I ain't got time for that. Are you cool with being in the bathroom with each other or no?
No.
I'm with you on that. Please,
No.
someone help my husband.
Right.
Beach vacation or cold cabin getaway?
Beach.
Because Chicago is cold, okay? Please. It's cold up there.
In
Jesus' name. Date night at home or night out on the town?
Night on the town.
Who takes longer to get ready?
Me.
I was gonna guess that, but you look so lovely, just flawless. Just
it's a quick 10-minute makeover, but my husband is like boom, boom, boom. He irons. I pretend not to know how to iron. I told you, don't start things you don't want to do. So I'm like, oh, I don't know how to iron. I don't know how to do that. So he has everything already laid out. But yeah, I take longer.
Yes, and it looks like everybody likes to go have a night out on the town. And who's the first to apologize?
Me. I always say, I'm sorry, or I'm sorry I made you feel that way. Now, what I have had to learn, though, is to not add the petty on the back of the apology. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry that you feel like that, but if you done, then, so I've had to learn how to just say, I am sorry, and be quiet after that. I'm working on that still. There's a little petty still, but I say it first.
I was gonna say, y'all pray for me because I like to pepper in a little petty at the end of my apology. Oh, y'all pray for me. I'm like salt babe for petty. It's like, yeah. So so it's 8:57. We already know Instagram loves cut us off. But before we wrap up and before we toast, I definitely want you to share your handles. You all, Ardre is such an amazing woman. You have been supportive since the first day I've met you. Okay. You have a way of encouraging and inspiring people in ways that you don't even have to ask for it. It's like you just give it. Like that's just the energy that you give out. So I just want you to know just how much I appreciate you, like since day one and everything. And we don't even get to see each other as often as I would like to, but knowing that you always have an encouraging word and an encouraging spirit just really has inspired me, and I appreciate it so much. So please share your handles and what you're working on, and let the people know where they can find you.
Well, thank you. Well, let me first say the same to you. You have always been encouraging and always been supportive. And it's like amazing because it feels like we've known each other for forever. And so, and it has been a while now, it has been a good amount of time, over 5 years. And so I thank you for everything that you do for other people and the way you pour into all of us, because we don't take it for granted. What I want to say and why I love this topic so much is I'm working on my first romance novel called My Love Comes Down. And we talk about all these things, with self-love and learning to love ourselves. But that's really the message that is in it. It's about a woman who she cannot, have the love that she wants until she learns how to love herself. So I know that story all too well, and I'm just writing it as an act of love. So there's that. But you can follow me on all social media at I am Ardre Orie. It is if you look at the top of this feed, you can see it there. And I warn you right now, if you follow me, you will be encouraged to write a book, because that is what I talk about on my page. Story threads. That's what you should be doing, is writing a book, and Shonda can speak to that, as to why it is necessary to do it. So thank you so much for joining us and tuning in and just allowing me to share. I spend all of my days listening to other people's stories, and so anytime someone asks me to share mine, I'm very honored, and I don't take it for granted. So thank you, Queen, so much, and thank you to each of you who have joined us tonight.
Yes, and to that, grab your glasses, ladies. We have literally 30 seconds So really quick, 2 seconds. What are you toasting to, Ardre?
I'm toasting to joy deep down on the inside that can only come from you.
Yes. And I toast to that. And I also toast to self-worth and self-love, because that was definitely a major theme tonight. So thank you all. Thank you for tuning in to Wives Wind Down. And cheers to you all. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.